Alright, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of the Uper Cigar Deck Talks. Uper Farmer here. Glad to have everyone back. How y'all doing? I'm doing actually pretty damn good. Very productive day today. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on with my ankle. I messed it up something fierce. Of course, I got good sun bleaching coming into everything off the sun. Again, I'll have a limited amount of time when I can do this. So the last video actually I was threading the needle to get in before it stormed. Tonight, clear skies, got some clouds coming in the distance, but beautiful sunset, no doubt, is coming in tonight. So, with the formalities going, I am smoking a Christoph. Let's see, Hecto a Mano Dominican Christoph. Nice cigar. I thought it was bandless. I actually pulled it out of my humidor and thought I grabbed one of the cheap cigars that I have there, the no names. But then once I unwrapped it, I saw it was banded, so I was kind of surprised. The cigar box is running a little bit low. It's okay though. I've got a few shipment coming in here, so we'll be back to a stocked humidor in no time. Well, for the beer tonight, it's Old Fallon's Dad's Original Oatmeal Stout. Very classy. So, oatmeal stout, probably a bit on the creamier side from the looks of it. A little bit of head on it. Not bad at all. Alright, let's give her a try. Ooh, definitely has more of a oatmeal cream pie flavor going for it than a regular oatmeal stout. Not bad, but it's alright. I'll definitely drink it. A little sweeter than I like my stouts. That'd be good if I was to drink stouts for breakfast in the morning. Which I'm tempted to do one of these years. Do the Catholic tradition of just drinking beer on Good Friday. And of course it won't be, the 8 or 10% beer. It'll probably be a near beer, 1 to 2%, with a lot of protein and minerals packed into it to kind of get you through the day. So anyway, we're going to continue on tonight with the War Story series. So exciting. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. Talking about old memories, old calls. Something I do enjoy doing. If anyone's ever taken a class from me, the old war stories come out quite a bit. Not as a teaching device, but as a teaching aid. Maybe later on I'll explain the difference between those two in a different video, or you can take my class on it. But tonight, I asked my wife to give me an emotion. And didn't tell her why, just give me an emotion. And she went with disappointment. It's alright. I got that one covered. There are lots of disappointments that happen in EMS. I've talked about it briefly. You have patients who you wish would live and end up dying. You have patients that you wish would just pass on, that keep living. Disappointments with what partner you get, with maybe your station assignment. As soon as she said that, a call jumped in my mind. So we get called to a woman down, unknown causes. So we're hauling a butt. We get about a mile or two away from the station, and it's a woman down, not breathing, no pulse. CPR is being attempted. Okay, so I jump from the passenger seat, I jump in the back. I have a bit of a routine I go through for critical calls. I set my rig up, I prep my equipment, drop first line meds, second line meds, everything I need. I get all laid out and decked out, ready to go. So we go flying, we get there. I believe I had a student with me, if I remember correctly. I may not have, maybe it was just me and my partner. I know my partner, one of the people, either my partner or the student, was very new. Fun little advice for you if you get into EMS. People who go down, who have heart attacks, cardiac arrest, usually end up pissing and shitting themselves. Sometimes that's a definite sign that they've died, but peeing themselves is that one happens more than half. So if you have a patient lying on a shag carpet in cardiac arrest, chances are it's going to be squishy. Either again, my partner or the student hadn't been told that, so they kneeled right into it without putting anything down and just heard the squish. Oh, gross. So we get working on this lady. She had been down unknown amount of time. Couldn't really estimate. There was no signs of definite death, no rigor, no lividity or anything like that. So we start CPR. I start my IV. I get my intubation. Have the monitor hooked up, following protocols. I get first rhythm check, nothing asystole. Second one, nothing. We push some epinephrine. At that time, we also pushed atropine. That's how long ago this was. I think we even still had percanamide, and beryllium sulfite was in our algorithm at that time. So we go to the third rhythm check, and she's in a shockable rhythm. So we're thinking, excellent. Let's light her up. Give her the old heave-ho with the joules. I think it was, what was it back then? 150, no, 200, 300, 360. So we hit her with 200 joules. And she has a rhythm. Holy crap. So back then, we just do another round, about 2 minutes more CPR as part of our protocol. Back then, you stopped everything, check for a pulse. She had one. Well, holy crap. This was my first field save. It's back, especially when I was in the beginning in EMS, it was very uncommon to get a field save, to get a heart rate back, to get what we call ROS, or ROC, return of spontaneous circulation. And I'd gotten it. Oh, I was happy. Just saved a life, in my opinion, in my mind. So we're doing all the procedures. We're hooking her up to pressors to try to get her blood pressure up. We're pushing fluid, because back then you slammed everyone with fluid. We know better now. High flow oxygen, monitoring blood pressures, high fives everywhere. We're just doing great. Life is wonderful as we know it. Start looking at some of our H's and T's, see what may have caused this, run some blood glucose test, do a 12 lead, thoroughly examine the strip. It takes about, from where she lived, about 30 minutes for us to get to the hospital. I'm telling my partner, good job. I'm going to go buy him a steak dinner, which was code for a nice hamburger, at one of these drive-through restaurants, the old-fashioned type where you actually sit in your car. And then we had a student who was with us. I'm sure we had a student. Giving him high fives, his first save too, as a student. Very rare. We're talking about how rare it is. Get to the hospital, and I'm walking in with kind of a swagger to my step. I got a save in the field. They're rare. Back then especially, they were very rare. We only got maybe of an unwitnessed arrest, 5 to 10% in your career were convertible or converted. With changes in technology and understanding of medicine, that number is greatly improved for new providers who are in the field. Their save rates are a lot higher. So, we get into the trauma room, or the code room, the critical room, stat room, I think they called it at that time. Get in there, load the patient. I start giving a report, and the doc wants nothing to really do with it. I'm like, oh, what a dick. Not a big deal. We had a couple of them, but this doc who was on wasn't really one of my we weren't on bad terms. He was actually a good doc. So I was really kind of surprised that he just kind of blew me off. And I finished my report. He said, you know what? This was a remarkable, awesome, great save. You did awesome. Congratulations. And at that point, he looks at his watch. He says, time of death, 17:33. Go ahead and remove the wires. Go ahead and pull the tube. Big B. Go ahead and stop all life-saving efforts. And I was just shocked. Like, what are you doing? She's alive. Well, lo and behold, they got word down to her daughter in Florida, who was the executor of this estate, and her mom had a DNR paperwork. Do not resuscitate. She did not want any life-saving procedures done. Of course, there's no way we knew about this. She didn't have the vial of life or anything on her fridge, or some people frame them in frames and whatnot. We didn't find any. The reason is the actual paperwork was in Florida. Well, in the time it took us to take her from her house to the hospital, the daughter had faxed the copy. They certified it, even I think with a lawyer. They had a lawyer on call who called and said the second they get there to pull and stop all efforts. So my first save, and you get all excited, maybe this one's gonna be in the news because this one will be up and walking around and thank you and shake your hand, and nope, hospital killed her. Real kick to the teeth. It's a big disappointment. You go from this emotional high that you saved someone's life, which doesn't happen a lot. That you have a true save. And I'll get in, I think I've talked about it in other videos where our definition of a save kind of changes. But a good, honest, true, heroic save, you don't get a lot of those, and I had it, and the doc ripped it away from me, gave me a lot of disappointment. Still carry a little bit of animosity towards that call, like you can probably hear in my voice, a little bit of frustration. But it is the way of healthcare, is the way of EMS. She had a DNR. Had we known it on scene, we wouldn't have started anything, wouldn't have done anything, because that was her wishes. I do honor my patient's wishes. So anyway, that's one of my most disappointing calls. I'm pretty sure, knowing more now, that was early on in my career, but knowing more now, she would not have had a good quality of life. Chances are she probably would have died of post-resuscitation complications, probably had some brain damage, you name it. She was not going to have a good quality of life. And the doc and the patient herself probably made the right call by having that DNR paperwork signed. Because again, it was on witness. There's no way to know how long she was down for. Chances are she'd be in a vegetated state. Not a good life. So I respected her decisions. I respected the doc's actions, but there's still a part of me that's like, couldn't you have just waited until we left? Waited until we weren't there and then pulled the plug after. But I get what he had a job to do. He didn't want to jam up his ER, and he had other patients that didn't have DNRs that had to be saved that night. So anyway, there is probably one of my most disappointing calls ever. So on that note, now that we've talked about that one, I'm going to go finish my beer and my cigar. I hope all of you stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.